guys, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about and compare a couple of art sharing websites and social media platforms from an artist's perspective. With a lot of new options popping up recently in the past couple years, and some of our tried and true platforms seeming all too quick to turn around and stab us in the back out of nowhere lately, it can be tricky as an artist navigating this online landscape, looking for the best platform to post on that's not only artist friendly but will also allow their work to be seen by all different types of people. It's hard to give a one right answer for this kind of issue. I think it's deeply nuanced and it depends on a case-to-case basis depending on each artist's individual needs. So I'm just going to be approaching this topic from my own experiences and observations, and I encourage you to continue this conversation in the comments if you have a point that I didn't touch on in the video. Feel free to draw alongside me as well. The footage for today's Draw With Me video will be a couple of art fight attacks. I'll link the profiles of the owner of each character in the description so you can check out the rest of their characters and art as well. So let's begin with an app that until very recently was not only my main, but my all-time favorite platform for posting art, Instagram. To sum up what's been happening with Instagram lately, because by now you probably have already heard about it, Instagram recently revealed an update in their terms of service that shed light on the fact that everything you post on their platform will be used to train their generative AI software, and in most cases you are not able to opt out of this. For this reason, a large number of artists have chosen to leave the platform in favor of a newer platform, Cara, which I will be talking about more later. I've seen all sorts of opinions about this issue, ranging from delete everything, deactivate account, never touch Instagram again with the 10-foot pole, we're done, to oh well, who cares, go ahead Meta, take my art, I'm already established here and I don't feel like moving, so I'm just gonna keep posting here as normal. For me, I think I fall somewhere in the middle. On the one hand, I do feel like to some degree the damage has already been done in regards to AI scraping, because I wouldn't put it past Meta that this has likely already been going on for a while, and we're only just now hearing about it. And not to sound pessimistic, but I think when you post your art online, no matter what you do to try and protect it, there's always going to be some element of risk that your work might be stolen. I think it's certainly good to take protective measures and not make it easier for thieves to take your art, but I also believe that that's just the risk you always take by posting your art online, unfortunately. For years, I used to consider Instagram my main platform as an artist on the internet, but I've been transitioning towards YouTube anyway, and now after this all came out about Instagram, I feel I can say YouTube is officially become my main platform. I still use Instagram for DMs and keeping up with a few people's stories, but I've been taking a break from posting anything there myself. I'm still deciding what I want to do going forward. Right now where I'm at with it is, since I worked so hard to build the following and community there that I have, I never want to abandon it entirely, but I still just don't feel comfortable continuing to post on my feed there as normal anymore. That's just how I feel for now. Who knows, maybe I'll change my mind in the future. But what I'm more likely to do with Instagram going forward is probably just continue to post stories, because honestly, I really enjoy giving little mini updates about what I'm up to and microblogging there and stuff, getting to interact with my followers through little polls and questions. I really like that. I also like categorizing and saving my stories to watch back later as a highlight on my profile. And when I think about it, I hardly ever scroll through my own feed anymore. I feel like I'm only ever looking at other people's stories. And as much as I dislike making short form content, I do still like the idea of having the option once in a while to do a reel here and there in the future. I don't have TikTok, and frankly I'm too shy to make an account there. And as far as YouTube shorts, I really don't want to ruin my YouTube channel by making shorts. So if I ever feel like making short form video content, reels is sort of my only option. And AI controversy completely aside, I think Instagram has had its own issues for a while now. I know I personally have been struggling from terribly low reach, partially because I think of the app's algorithm and partially because of, frankly, a ton of ghost followers from a couple reels that got popular. That's part of the reason why I decided to transition over to YouTube too. So even if all this about AI scraping didn't come out, I don't think I would be glowingly recommending Instagram anyway, for the fact that it's just ridiculously hard for smaller artists to get seen over there, even by your own followers. Not to mention the fact that recently a ton of people stepping away from the platform is probably going to make that even worse. That's how I feel about Instagram personally. I may get over myself and just post there again as normal in the future, who knows. But for now, I plan to just use it as a way to just connect with my community over there through stories only, because no other platform has stories and I kind of like them. Next, let's talk about Cara. I feel like there's been a lot of skepticism about this platform, and yeah, it's not perfect, it does have its issues, but in my experience, I think it's really promising. The biggest issue with Cara that I've seen is just the fact that it got really big really quickly, gaining close to 1 million new users in a matter of weeks, and the owner of the site's just having trouble supporting it financially because yeah, they're not a big company. It's run and paid for out of pocket by a single person, or a small team, I'm not sure, and that can be really tough. But some of my favorite websites are supported solely through tips and donations of the users and never have to rely on ads, like Toy House tulips and habitica, for example. I really hope the same can happen with Cara because so far I think it is such a great platform for artists. But that could be another con depending on how you view it. It's a platform specifically made for artists, so non-artists likely won't be on it. However, I will say I have personally already seen a handful of accounts that looked like they were made by non-artists who just wanted to follow their favorite artists. So I don't think we can say only artists will be using this site, but yes, a majority of users will be. The way I would describe Cara is like a mix between Instagram and Twitter. It has a portfolio section to display your posted art, a timeline section for text posts and reposts, and an about section and a like section. I personally love the fact that you can opt whether to include your posted art to your portfolio or not. That way it gives you some autonomy over what that section looks like, and it makes it easier to post works in progress and sketches and other less polished art without worrying about messing up your feed. Another thing I like about it is that you can rearrange the art in your portfolio too, so you don't even have to worry about uploading things in a certain order. I hear some people complain that it's hard to build an audience for your work over there, but honestly, I've had the total opposite experience. I mean, I'm not super popular over there, just like I'm not really super popular anywhere. But in my experience, I find that whenever I post art there, it always gets a pretty good reach and reception. And I think the community over there is really sweet about commenting and reposting your work too. I haven't posted much there lately just because I've been a little busy and haven't gotten the chance to draw any new illustrations. But I think Cara is a solid choice for artists who are looking to connect with other artists and advertise their best work in a professional way. Next, I want to talk about Artful. I really liked Artful. I think it's a shame it never really took off. The one thing I don't like about it is the ads. I can't stand using an app and having to be super careful where I touch the screen because I never know where an ad might pop up and might accidentally click it, potentially get hacked or my data stolen or download malware because of the sketchy site it leads to. That's a big issue I have with Tumblr too. It's even worse over there, honestly. But I feel like Artful needs more love. There's nothing really wrong with it as an art platform. The feed is chronological, the community over there is small but very sweet, and the interface is just so cute. I say that, but I don't really use it myself that much, but I do think about returning to it once in a while. I always thought of it as a place to just kind of post whatever and not worry about it being aesthetic or a finished piece, like a safe space for doodles and unfinished work. I like how easy it is too to host events like draw this in your style challenges there. I don't know. I don't have much to say about Artful. I just wanted to mention it so that people know it's there. Next, I want to talk about Twitter. And no, I'm not calling it X, I'm sorry. Twitter suffers from some of the same problems that Instagram does, in addition to its own issues from leadership and some really hateful people that use the site and the overabundance of bot accounts. I feel like no matter what happens though, at least from what I see from the part of the art community that shows up on my feed, a lot of people are pretty determined to stay there, myself included. It reminds me of Tumblr. Like, no matter what negative turn the site takes, you can never get me to stop using it. As far as sharing art on Twitter, in my experience, I think unless someone really popular retweets your art, it's even harder on Twitter than Instagram to grow an audience for your work. It works very differently too, and you have to be very careful because just doing the slightest thing wrong will get your post shadow banned and nobody will be able to see it. Like using too many hashtags or including a link in your main post. It's so dumb, the whole shadow banning thing. It's just really dumb. On Instagram too, like I understand the function is to hide spam and bot accounts, but it never works correctly. It always just punishes regular people just trying to use the site normally. But anyway, despite everything, the art community over there is still thriving from what I can see. I don't have a big following over there, but once in a while, art that I do post over there does gain a little bit of traction, which is a nice treat once in a while. Plus, I think it's still one of the best ways to get in contact with people or at people because of how commonly used it still is. It's also similar to Tumblr, in which you can find a lot of funny text posts or memes, and it's good for finding fandom content too. A downside to that though could be that reposting and tweeting too many non-art related things can potentially clutter your timeline and make someone who might just be following you for your art consider muting or unfollowing you, which is not the biggest deal in the world, but I just say that to emphasize the fact that it's not the best portfolio website. Like, it's hard to follow people there just for their art, if that makes sense. They're gonna post whatever they want, so there's that to consider. To touch on Bluesky briefly, the alternative to Twitter that was created by the original creator of Twitter, unfortunately, it falls into a similar category in my mind as Artful. I think it's a fine platform, but its biggest issue is that it hasn't really taken off and not many people use it, from my experience. But that's one that I do go back and revisit once in a while because I do think it has a lot of potential. Alright, let's move on to Tumblr. In my experience, I've personally never had that much success posting art to Tumblr. I mainly use it to reblog posts related to fandoms that I'm in and funny things and other artists' work. Lately though, I did receive quite a bit of traction from some fan art that I posted, which was a really good surprise. Some people are fortunate that all of their art is popular on Tumblr, original or fan art, but for others of us like me, we may only get the chance of getting our eyes on our work if it's fan art, not as much original art or OCs. It's funny, I know of some people who love using Tumblr as their main platform as an artist, but I feel like in my mind, it never really seemed like an art sharing platform to me. To me, it's more akin to a personal site where you can share a lot about your interests and obsess over things you like, while also sharing art if you want, but maybe that's just how I prefer to use it. Lastly, I wanted to talk about sheezy art. This site may actually be my new top favorite art sharing platform. It feels so nostalgic and early internet, and feels honestly kind of like the new and improved DeviantArt, which is a shame too about the downfall of DeviantArt. That site used to be so much fun. But anyway, the amount of customization that you can give your profile on sheezy is one of my favorite things about it. Another thing I love about sheezy is that the community over there is so sweet and engaging and supportive. I've met some of the coolest artists over there too, and everyone is so open to commenting really genuine and thoughtful things and interacting with each other. It's just a really nice place to be as an artist. The site's still in beta, so it's not open for just anybody to freely sign up for yet. I think that'll happen in 2025 too, if I'm not mistaken. It'll open up for everybody to sign up. But the team holds weekly streams on Twitch where they briefly open up registrations for new users and give away benefits to users that are normally only accessible through a paid subscription. I would highly recommend this site to any artist that really misses that feeling of art sharing sites from the early internet days and loves customizing their profile to be super unique. It doesn't have a mobile app, but I feel it really doesn't need one. That's part of its early internet charm in my opinion. It's kind of cool that it's not always accessible in your hand wherever you go. There is a lost charm about a site that you think about all day while you're out and look forward to logging back onto when you get home, especially in this day and age where everything is instant gratification and trying to be mobile friendly and compete with other apps for our attention. It's just a breath of fresh air to come across something a little different, but that's just my opinion. One last honorable mention, YouTube. Although it's a little different than an art sharing platform and the other platforms discussed, I think YouTube shouldn't be brushed aside when considering where to post your art. There is a slight hurdle with making long-form videos because of the time and effort and equipment it may require, but it is so rewarding. And I think it's one of the best ways to follow a creator and get to know them and support them even, especially if they're part of the YouTube Partner Program. There's such a personal element to long-form content too. I may just be speaking for myself, who knows, but I feel it's a lot easier to bond, so to say, with the creator you follow when you spend so much time playing their videos in the background of your day, drawing alongside them, listening to them while you do chores, interacting with them in the comments. I don't know, I just think there's a specialness about it that can be lost with short-form content. And as an artist, I feel YouTube is very amicable to artists. There's just as big of an art community on here, with several sub-communities, as there are on other big sites like Instagram. And it's not just artists, you get your work seen by non-artists too. It's a little different than just posting a static image, although you can do so in the community tab now. And yes, there requires a lot more effort to film a video, but as far as equipment and stuff, it really doesn't take that much to get started. Most people can start with what they have, and the wide range of videos you can make is also really cool. You can do time-lapse processes or real-life draw with me's or like a day in the life or studio vlog type of videos. But again, I feel like the end result of sharing your work and your life as an artist in that way is incredibly rewarding and fulfilling, and has the potential to connect on a deep level with those who come across and resonate with your work or your general vibe or your voice or your personality. And that's an element I think that's unique to YouTube that a static image or short form video sharing platform just doesn't have. Not to mention how sweet and encouraging the community is here. I have met some of the nicest people in my YouTube comment section, and in the art community in general, there just seems to be a lot of good people here. And one last good thing I'll say about YouTube is they're actually really good at promoting smaller channels. From what I've heard and from what I've seen scrolling through on my own, I always get recommended smaller channels with less than 1,000 subscribers and videos with like only a couple hundred views, and oftentimes those ones catch my attention the most. It's really easy to get started, and as long as you're consistent and you work hard, your stuff will be recommended and promoted, which is a huge plus in this current social media landscape. Ultimately, the choice to post your art on whichever site is up to the individual. It's important to weigh the pros and cons of each and determine which ones fit your personal style as an artist, but that's just my opinion. What are your thoughts? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to click the like button, comment and let me know your thoughts, and subscribe so you'll be notified of new uploads from my channel. I'm really working hard to maintain a weekly upload schedule, but it's not easy for me right now to upload at exactly the same time and day every week, so turning on notifications will ensure you don't miss when I upload a new video. If you really like what I do, consider leaving me a one-time tip on Ko-fi or joining one of my monthly memberships over on Patreon, where I provide a bunch of extra content just for my supporters, like early releases of webcomic blog pages, full in-depth tours of my private sketchbooks, and even a monthly studio vlog series where you can follow my art journey on a more personal level as I share the behind the scenes of my creations and take you with me on fun adventures. And before I go, I wanted to share a couple of attacks I received so far this year in Artfight. You can find everyone's drawings if you visit my toy house, but I wanted to include just a couple here just as an extra little expression of my appreciation, and so you can all admire the work of these artists as well. I'll link their sites in the description too. Anyway, thank you again so much for watching this video, and all the best to you in choosing where to post your art and in your own art journey. See you next time, bye bye!